So we actually did a, whoops, I don't have my pen on. We actually did a different warm-up than this one in class. So please either see me individually or see one of your classmates if you actually need the warm-up. But this is not the one that we did in class. So today we're going to look at factoring polynomials completely. And basically we're going to look at specifically this factor by grouping only. How do we put the things together in order to get portions of an answer pretty much. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So here, basically what we want to do is we want to take this big messy looking thing and we want to write it as two nice neat parentheses. And what happens is the two pieces in parentheses should match. If they match, they become one part of your final answer. The pieces outside the parentheses become the second part of your final answer. And that's all there is to it. Do not make it any more complicated than that. If you look at this second equation, you're going to notice that my two parentheses this time, they don't match. One has a positive y, one has a negative y. So in order to change that around, I'm actually going to pull a -1 or factor a -1 out of that second parenthesis. I'm going to make it a -5. So the 3y and y plus -2 is going to stay the same. That 5 is going to become negative. That 2 that was positive, it lost a negative now, so it's negative. And this y that was negative lost a negative, so it's now positive. And you'll notice my two parentheses do now match, even if they are in reverse order. As long as the same pieces are always there, we're good. So the pieces outside the parenthesis give me 1/2 of my final answer. The matching pieces inside the parenthesis give me the second half of my final answer. So I want you to go ahead, try these on your own. Then we'll go ahead and go over them. So we'll notice that the two parentheses do match, so they give me 1/2 of my final answer. And the 4x plus 5 gives me the second part. In number 4, you'll notice that they do not match, so I need to pull a -1 out of the second parenthesis, making the -3 a +3. The 5 will become negative, and the y would become positive. Now you can see that my two parentheses do in fact match. Even though they're in opposite order, the values are the same. So my first parenthesis is 2y squared plus +3. And my second parenthesis is going to be y plus -5. The last one, remember, if there's no number written, we have a hidden 1 outside the parentheses. So this is going to give me x plus 1 and x plus -2. Oh, my stylus is acting up. I have not had much luck with stylus lately. So let's see if I can get it to kind of work, just so I can finish this lesson. I should probably get a better one than at the dollar store, but, you know, it does what I need it to do. So there we go, there's my second parenthesis. So now we're going to look at what happens if I don't give you the matching pair in parentheses already. And the answer is we create it ourselves. So we're grouping, okay? We're going to play the matching game again. And you want to pick two pieces that you think match together. And they need to match based on something you can pull out, based on a GCF that they have in common. Typically, I'm going to say 95% of the time, you can always put the first two and the last two together. There are times where that won't work, but more often than not, it will. So in this first pairing, they have an x squared in common, leaving me with x plus 3. Between the 5x and the 15, they have a 3 in common. I'm sorry, they have a 5 in common. Doo-doo-doo-doo. They have a 5 in common, leaving me with x plus 3. The two numbers outside go together for one part of my final answer. So x plus 5. And then x plus 3. And no addition sign, random addition sign in the middle. So looking at these two, I'm going to group together the first two and the last two. The first two have a y in common, leaving me with y plus 1. The second grouping has an x in common, leaving me again with y plus 1. First parenthesis, my piece is outside. Second parenthesis, my piece is inside. So number 2 is one of those 5% of the times where the first two don't really, there's nothing I can GCF out of those first two. So I'm actually going to put the middle two together and pull the first and the last. There are lots of different pairs that you could put together to GCF this out. I could have put in the -6 and the -3x squared together. It's just personal preference. So I'm going to pull the x squared out, and that's going to leave me with x plus -3. Between my two middle terms, they have a 2 in common, leaving me with x plus -3. X squared plus 2 and x plus -3 becomes my answer. Go ahead, try these 3 on your own, and we'll see where we're at. So in the first one, number 4, actually, I grouped the first two terms together. I could GCF out an x squared, which left me with x plus 2. And I could also pull out an 8, which leave me with x plus 2. My outside numbers, the x squared plus 8 goes together, and the x plus 2 finishes off the problem. Number 5, my first two pieces, I can pull out an r, leaving me with r plus 4. Our last two pieces, I can pull out an s, leaving me with r plus 4. So r plus s, and then r plus 4. Last one's one of those tricky ones again. I'm actually going to do the x cubed and the -5x and the -10 and the 2, just so you can see a little bit different of a grouping. So I can pull I can just pull an x out. So that's going to give me x squared minus 5. Between the -10 and the 2x, I can pull a 2 out, which will also leave me with x squared plus -5. So I have x plus 2 and x squared plus -5. Homework tonight is a worksheet, just like normal. If you don't have it in front of you, hopefully you can find it off the website or come see me for a copy. As always, if I confused you anymore by this video or you're a little unsure of what is going on, please stop over and see me at any point. I am here to help you to the best of my ability.